Hi Lionel collectors. Today we're going to be talking about two of Lionel's top models, the Lionel Lionmaster Big Boy and the Joshua Lionel Cowen Big Boy. Many times you don't see them in the same video, and that was the reason why we're producing this video. I'm not a Lionel representative, but I'm a collector probably just like you are, and I want to see the differences. So today we're going to show you the differences. So from there, let's take it over to our star attractions. We have the Lionel Lionmaster, number 4006, and we have the big boy, the Joshua Lionel Cowen, number 4012. So with that being said, I'm going to use this flashlight and my pointer to point out some of the obvious differences. When we look at the front of the 4006, we see the cow catcher, yet we have hoses here, and we have the cow catcher actually with the coupler on the front end. If I'm missing anything from these videos, again, I'm not the Lionel representative. I'm a collector just like you are. Also on the fronts, if we look at this grill versus this grill, we've got much more detail here than we have here. Okay, I'm going to close that. Okay, on the light, you can see this extra bar versus no bar. And if you come around over to the side a little bit, well, we're still on the front. Let's stay right here. On the boiler, you have a boiler with much more detail in the hinge than you have here. And this is a plastic flat front versus here you have a black actual rail. You have grab irons right there on the 4012, and these actually light versus the 4006 has no grab irons on them there. If we go over the top, or actually let's take a little bit of a side shot. As we come over to the side, you can see the physical size differences, not only in the box, but you can see the physical size differences in the engine. Here's the front of the engines are almost matched up, and the back has another couple of inches. So let's take it over to the side, and by the way, the sides of each one are different. So what we're going to do is this. As you look over the top, I'm going to try to pull these a little bit apart so you can kind of see some of the differences. Up in the front, which is why you have an 031 gauge, and it'll go around corners, you really don't have anything there. Here you have these pieces here. And in the detail in the driving wheels, you can see this extra detail here as well as all this extra piping. That you have some piping, but it's all plastic here where it's actually rails, and the detail is not as specific here. If we go up to the boiler, you can see the boiler itself. If we're looking over top, you've got the one valve here versus the three valves, and the detail here in this is fantastic. The bell's actually connected versus here it's not as well connected. When we go back here and we move back to the sides, the name plates are relatively the same, but as we go back we can see this is smaller than this, as well as we've got, this is where the sand comes out to the traction, and here the much more detail. Here on the back of the boiler we've got much more detail, and here we got much more detail. Here we have a window, it looks like. Here we have no window and it's clear, and it's more detailed here. As I'm noticing on the actual physical wheels, they look relatively about the same. They might be a little bit bigger on the 4012. We're going to go back to the cab now. As we look at the cab, this is solid. This one actually opens and closes. You can see it's closed. Now we've opened it up. These windows will move. So you can see they're moving. These windows are solid. Okay, as we go to the back of the cab, we see there's no curtain here. There's a curtain here. There's this piece here that moves up and down. It goes between that and the tender, as well as in the cab back there. And we pull that out, we can see that there's some painted valves in there, as well as some painted pieces, as well as here we don't have any flap and it's all solid. There's actually some pieces in there that are metal. And in the back here, the detail is relatively bland. In the back here, we've got a lot of detail in the back. So let's take it over to the tenders. As we take it to the tenders, and we look at the front of the tenders, this tender is all solid, and it's all plastic. These are actual grab irons that are metal, and this opens up. Okay, you stick a pencil in there, and this coal will pop out. Obviously, you can't stick a pencil in there. As we look at the sides, the trucks are solid here. The trucks here have actual detail. This bar here is plastic connected to the tender. The bar here is actually separated. This tender has grab irons on the water ports, and those open up. and some of them have gauges in there to turn things on and off. Where here, these are all solid and there's no grab irons, it's actually plastic. If we look at the tail, the light here is one solid light. The light here has a plastic wire to it, where here it's an actual wire, and we've got wires here. In the back of it, you can see I can stick my pen in there. I can't stick my pen in there. So with that being said, those are some of the differences. If we go on the far side, there are some differences on the side too. You see this here, and there's actually two, and I'm going to grab them very quickly. And we'll take this and we'll do it on the fly. There's actually two grab irons here that you actually, and you'll see me do it, you have to physically put them on. I'm putting it on as you see. And they have a little screw end. You have to be very careful. As you're putting it on, you can see it looks like that one there. So I'm putting this one on here. You don't want to put this back in the box with that on, being very gentle, and yet that's snug. And in here, they give you a separate piece that gets put on. Probably could have had this put on earlier, but I didn't. It also comes with a full-size coupler in case you want to double head the big boy engines. And this one goes on right here. So on this one you have two red pipes, and in just a second, because I'm almost there, I want to be specifically gentle. There we go. So now you can see the two versus the one, as well as that's the major difference on the sides there. And then the same thing, you've got the wiring here and the rigging. On the sides here you can see the actual opening here, and here this is, there is an opening there on that. There versus there. And the rigging here is open versus here it's plastic and closed. But those are the major differences. Let me try to start them up. I'm going to connect them to do that. We'll start with the 4016. And when you start the 4016, we're not going to drive them, we're just going to start them so you can see the lights and things. And I push them together. They go together the same way. They go together the same way. So when I turn on the power, let's start at the front for a second. Let's start at the, we can start in the cab. In the cab you can see is flashing. There's no cab light. And as you come on the sides, you will see the back has lights. They're connected to it. Make sure that that's connected properly. You can hear the chuffing sounds. Come on the front. You can see that these two lights light up and the headlight lights up. Okay. If you do it in reverse, you get the tail light on the tender and the two red lights back there. When you do the other big boy, so I'm going to try to pull this off gently. Put that down. And I put this one on here. I think I got it on the first try. You have to be a little more careful with the JLC too on how you pick it up, because there's not a lot of room to pick it up. There's so much piping that you don't want to have it fall off. So as we put it on, get the back set up. Hook the back end up. I think we're actually pretty good there. And we turn it on here. Let's see if I have it all on right. The front looks good. These wheels look good. This looks decent. And that looks decent. We turn it on. When we turn it on, here, we'll start at the front. Here you've got the headlight, the lights here, and the markers here are lit, or should be lit. Yeah, that one is lit. But you also have lights here, and you have a light here. You have a light back here. Go to the back real quick. You see the lights here, and inside the cab, there's lights on that are in there too. If you look in there, you can see the cab lights are on. Plus, you should see the smoking tinder box. But those are some of the features. As far as some of the physical differences. Hope that helped with some of the questions you may have about the difference between the Joshua Lionel Cowen series 4884 Big Boy and the Lionmaster Union Pacific 4884 Big Boy.